I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
When Katt Williams steps in, the whole industry holds its breath. Executives sweat, PR teams panic, and stars start praying their names don't come out his mouth. He's built his empire on exposing Hollywood's dirtiest laundry, but this time, he didn't just stir the pot, he flipped the whole table. The night he aimed his fire at Beyoncé, he didn't talk about her records, her fame, or even her performances. He went for something untouchable, her identity as a mother. Williams didn't hint, he dropped a bomb, flat out saying that Beyoncé might not even be the real birth mother of Blue Ivy. That's not shade, that's an earthquake. The second the words left his lips, the internet froze, then exploded. Twitter, Instagram, TMZ. It was like the whole world gasped in sync. People couldn't believe what they just heard. Could it be that for over a decade, we've been sold the ultimate pop fairy tale while a different truth was locked away behind hospital curtains and signed NDAs? Williams swears the story is wilder, juicier, and a whole lot messier than anyone in the Bayhive would dare admit. And here's the kicker. Social media hasn't cooled down since. Feeds are overflowing with breakdowns, zoomed-in screenshots, and threads analyzing every single blurry hospital picture from 2012. Fans are dragging up every strange moment surrounding Blue's birth like it's a crime scene. And the whispers coming from Hollywood insiders? Always off the record, of course. But they claim Beyoncé's hospital stay was bizarre from start to finish. Entire wings of Lenox Hill were supposedly locked down. Guards everywhere, tighter security than a VIP party with Diddy. Staff were reportedly shuffled around, silenced with hush orders, and visitors mysteriously turned away under the excuse of privacy. But was it really privacy, or was it secrecy? For years, whispers have circled about that maternity suite, and the question everyone's afraid to say out loud: who actually checked in and out of those lockdown hallways? The rumor that refuses to die. Beyoncé never delivered Blue Ivy herself, but instead pulled off a secret alleged surrogate, none other than her own Destiny's Child sister, Kelly Rowland. Let that sink in for a second. The timing, the silence, the lack of a single authentic, just had a baby paparazzi shot. It all lines up a little too perfectly. No Instagram story, no hospital hallway pics, just radio silence, like something was being covered up at the highest level. And then comes Kelly herself, always close by, always right there, sometimes with an intensity that feels way deeper than just old school friendship. Industry insiders can't stop replaying one particular night. Kelly's 31st birthday dinner. Small, intimate, just Beyoncé, Jay-Z, Solange, and a few trusted faces at the table. But when Kelly walked out, cameras caught her eyes swollen with tears. Not just a little misty, full-on crying, enough to make the paparazzi pay attention when they usually only snap for chaos or a scandalous wardrobe slip. The reason behind those tears? Kelly never explained. Some brushed it off as emotions from looking back at the past. But people close to the circle insist it was something deeper, something boiling just beneath the surface, tied to a secret too heavy to carry in public. Was Kelly Rowland carrying the weight of a secret so heavy it could only be whispered about in back rooms and quiet corners? A secret that might explain not just those unexplained tears, but the almost maternal way she's bonded with Blue Ivy ever since. Watch the footage closely. Every time Kelly's spotted with Blue, there's a softness, a protective look, almost like she's guarding something bigger than anyone realizes. That watchful gaze doesn't slip, and fans who really pay attention can't ignore it. Her social posts tell the same story. Mother's Day tributes to Beyoncé, where she makes sure Blue is front and center, her captions always stretching beyond friendship, hinting at family ties that go deeper than the public knows. And she's not shy about putting loyalty on record either. Over and over, Kelly praises the unbreakable bond of Destiny's Child, but the undertone feels less like casual nostalgia and more like someone defending the walls of a hidden alliance. One industry vet who claims they handled logistics during the Coachella reunion swears they saw it firsthand. Kelly hovering over Blue like a bodyguard, shadowing her every move, almost like she was making up for years that weren't hers to lose. That kind of memory doesn't fade, even if it never makes the headlines, especially when paired with Kelly's rare, raw, emotional outbursts whenever Beyoncé or Jay-Z are involved. And then there's how she talks about Jay-Z, not just mentor, not just my best friend's husband.
Relax, but then after just a short amount of time, you can't wait to do something again?
I don't know how to relax.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't like to get a massage. I don't like to...
Oh.
No, I don't.
Oh, I like to get a massage.
Yeah, I go a little far. The only time I can really relax is on a boat, because then I have no excuse. I'm stuck, and I have to take care of myself.
No, Kelly calls him my big bro, a title that feels loaded in a way most people miss. After Jay-Z's fiery Grammy speech, Kelly didn't just applaud, she practically crowned him, declaring, "Sean Carter is one of the greatest men I know, and his words ring so loud to me. That's not casual praise, that's devotion that sounds personal." Kelly just can't stop praising Jay-Z. Every word he speaks, she treats like gospel. The devotion drips off her every sentence. And honestly, the closeness feels a little too tight for two people who, on paper, should only be connected through marriage. A former Destiny's Child road manager from the late 2000s once spilled that the crew used to joke about Kelly being the glue that held Bey and Jay together, always stepping in to smooth tensions, patch cracks, and clean up messy moments before they spilled out. But what if that glue wasn't just PR magic? What if it came from something way more personal? A family arrangement that shifted the entire foundation of their bond.
First guest is one of the biggest stars on the planet. Please welcome my friend Beyoncé.
Of course, for every suspicious whisper, there's always a fan quick to pull up the receipts. The Knowles Carter image is bulletproof, a carefully curated wall where nothing slips. They show up to events flawless, united, and untouchable. Beyoncé shouts out Kelly's new music on her socials, while Kelly is seen rocking Ivy Park in public before the fashion boxes even land on other celebs' doorsteps. That level of cross-promotion is non-stop. But the real question is it genuine love? Or is it the cover story of a family bound by something way bigger than just music? And then there's Kelly herself, casually fanning the flames. "We had a moment for the Super Bowl," she once said about reuniting with her Destiny's Child sisters. But now, people aren't just asking about performances or music anymore. They're asking if those moments were really coded signals. Hints at a secret pact hiding in plain sight. We're like, no, we're still doing our solo things. It's always the other things that nobody wants to name outright. But the real tension in the story, sis, where the public never gets to look behind the closed doors of the Knowles-Lawson family and the Carter dynasty. Tina Knowles has referred to Kelly as one of her daughters, blurring the lines between family and business. Even further, when pressed insiders close to Tina say, "The matriarch always makes space for Kelly," almost as if the loyalty is rooted in something deeper than decades-old friendship. Remember, Kelly moved in with Knowles' family when she was just 11, a fact Tina still talks about in interviews. That's not a casual connection. It's a lifelong bond, and in this story, every bond is a potential clue. Of course, nothing in Hollywood is just about personal secrets. Everything comes down to power image, and let's face it, the dollars. This brings us to the next bombshell that Katt Williams dangled in front of the world. The suggestion that Beyoncé and Jay-Z's marriage isn't about love, but about building an empire. The word in industry suites from former Rockefeller execs to high-placed title insiders is that Jay-Z and Beyoncé treat their marriage more like a boardroom partnership than a romance. On stage, their body language is picture perfect. Smiles locked, hands clasped, every look rehearsed like a script. But insiders swear that behind the flawless facade, there's an unspoken agreement. Every business move, every tour, every photo op.
I don't want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than everyone and never won Album of the Year. So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work.
It's all a chessboard, each piece placed to grab headlines while burying the cracks. Even Jay-Z himself has fed the flames. His own public confessions about shutting down emotions and surviving breakdowns only made people dig deeper. "You have to survive," he once admitted, and that one line has been picked apart in endless comment threads. Fans are convinced he wasn't just talking about life. He was talking about surviving this marriage, a union that might thrive more on appearances than passion. And if it's really all about image, then even the smallest slip is a threat to the brand. That's why rumors of Jay-Z's wandering eye never fully disappear. Yes, he admitted to stepping out, but every time a new allegation hits the blogs, whether it's a leak from an industry insider, a messy page from a rival's memoir, or even a random fan resurfacing old receipts, the Carters tighten their grip. They lock down harder, spin the narrative slicker, and flood the world with carefully polished perfection. "We want you to get it right," Jay-Z told the Grammys crowd. But insiders whisper that the real mission has always been about controlling the story before anyone else has the chance to twist it. And those matching tattoos on their ring fingers? Fans swoon over them as proof of undying love. But some sources swear they're less about romance and more like permanent branding.
Jay-Z's album,
I think it's genius. Like all of his projects.
Silent reminders to each other and to the world that no matter what happens, they're bound for life. Maybe it's love, Maybe it's loyalty, or maybe it's just the billion-dollar perks that come with being half of the most powerful brand in music. Because if you think this is just tabloid chatter, then you haven't been paying attention to how the Knowles-Carter empire actually operates. Their marriage looks like a fortress, but even fortresses crack under enough pressure? Look at the timeline. It's all there. Jay-Z's long list of alleged flings and shady exes stacked against Beyoncé's cryptic lyrics, visual albums dripping with codes about betrayal, forgiveness, and payback.
And it was just shocking to me. And I said, no, actually, my son is a CEO. She didn't think of it.
She puts the pain in her art, but behind those glossy filters, the message is clear. This empire survives by balancing truth with strategy. And that leaves the real question. What's authentic love, and what's just carefully staged survival? And if the family really has been hiding something as explosive as the real story behind Blue Ivy's birth, then what else has been swept under the velvet rug? Because one thing's for sure, their entire legacy is built on spectacle. Stadiums sold out, Super Bowl performances hailed as cultural moon landings, magazine covers branding them as untouchable icons. But behind every flawless shot, there's calculation. The kind that doesn't just happen, it's engineered. The closer you track their moves, the harder it is to ignore the pattern. Nothing about this marriage feels accidental. Not the synchronized album drops, not the perfectly timed red carpet reconciliations, not even the public apologies that hit harder than a music video. Insiders in label boardrooms whispered that the Knowles-Carter bond was a music deal, and folks already talking merger and expansion like it was a boardroom romance. One insider even dropped a line that still turns heads. And it was just shocking to me, and I said, no, actually my son is a CEO. She didn't think of him as a, and that unfinished thought still hangs in the air like smoke. Even the private moments looked built for the lens. The infamous elevator incident.
Yeah. When I get home, I'm like, completely lazy. I don't want to clean. I don't want to do anything but try to recover. It's my job to give 100%, and I feel like, you know, I've been allowed to do what I love for so long. I love my job, so the least I can do is give my all. You know, you do.
Run the tape back. Solange going ballistic on Jay-Z while Beyoncé stays calm in the corner. Stone still, unreadable, every second caught by hotel security and blasted to the world, and the speculation went nuclear. Was that raw and real, or a moment managed by a team obsessed with shaping the storyline before sunrise? A former Destiny's Child manager swears the machine never sleeps, calling their strategy ruthless and calculated. Every scandal treated like a campaign, every rumor flipped into reach and impressions. They even joked, they treat a crisis the way most people treat a remix, and the laugh didn't hide the chill behind it. That's brand control at a level most labels only dream about. Jay-Z's tangled history of rumored flings stretches longer than a Grammy red carpet. Names have swirled for years. Foxy Brown, Nas's ex Carmen, even whispers about him getting too close to Aaliyah before her tragic passing. And running through all these stories, the same familiar script, airtight NDAs, suspicious media silence, and whispers of quiet payoffs behind the scenes. Foxy Brown herself shut it down in icon business, snapping back, "Miss me with that. Fake news. NDA ain't a MF alive could stop my story dill." But that clapback didn't kill the noise. It just fueled it. Every few months, new rumors pop up, fans speculate NDAs might have expired, and people brace for the truth to finally spill into daylight. Yet somehow every scandal lands with a heavy thud, only for the Knowles-Carter machine to rise up bigger, shinier, and more bulletproof than before. And then there's Beyoncé, the queen of coded messages. She doesn't drop names, but her art has always dripped in subtext. When Lemonade dropped, it was like a public trial set to music, the most explicit confession of betrayal and reconciliation ever pressed on vinyl. But instead of breaking them, it fueled more questions. Who exactly was Becky with the good hair? Were those fiery visuals and gut punch lyrics real reflections of chaos inside the marriage? Or a perfectly engineered rebrand? Vulnerability packaged as strategy? Insiders are split. 3 industry veterans swear Beyoncé's camp combed through every lyric, every frame of that visual album, making sure nothing opened the door to lawsuits. Others insist she was absolutely telling on Jay, but always in controlled doses, never enough to burn the empire down. Jay-Z finally broke his silence with a confession of his own, saying music was their therapy, and that shutting down emotionally was the only way he knew how to survive. But here's the twist. When the dirty laundry looks like it's been dry cleaned and pressed for the cameras, how much of it is even real? That's the riddle fans can't stop chewing on.
Very, very honored that I got the response and the open heart, and people welcomed the album. The love I got from the country community tonight really made me feel so seen, and I'm very...
Insiders say the cracks don't just show on stage, they leak at home. Friends describe the Carter household as part war room, part soundstage. Every visitor is vetted. Every conversation feels monitored, measured, maybe even recorded. Like everyone's being auditioned before they can step foot inside. Even family holidays, according to whispers, aren't just celebrations. They're productions, managed by handlers to keep the image pristine. And when outside scandals start circling, the machine kicks in with military precision. The second the Diddy lawsuit started pulling their names into messy headlines, the Carter legal squad moved like ghosts, scrubbing connections, rewriting timelines, and dropping alibis so airtight you'd swear the FBI ghostwrote them. That's how they operate. Calculated, relentless, and always one step ahead of the story. But here's the catch. One Hollywood lawyer who's dealt with their team laid it bare. Their biggest asset is secrecy. It's not just about shielding a marriage, it's about guarding an empire, protecting the balance sheet that feeds stadium tours, billion-dollar deals, and generational wealth. Yet no fortress is truly unbreakable. That kind of pressure doesn't fade, it builds. So where does that leave Kelly Rowland in this tangled saga? The deeper we look, the clearer it gets. She's the pressure valve, the emotional fixer, the shadow always lingering whenever the Carter empire hits turbulence. Tina Knowles calls her a daughter. Jay-Z treats her like blood. Beyoncé praises her endlessly. But after that dinner, after those unexplained tears caught by paparazzi, it's hard to ignore the whispers that Kelly's tied to this family by more than just girl group nostalgia. Her public statements about loyalty and sisterhood read like platitudes at first glance. But listen closer, and they sound more like codes. Kelly once told BuzzFeed, "When you truly, genuinely love each other, you got each other's backs." But the way she hammered that point makes people wonder, was she just talking about friendship, or was she hinting at something deeper? Something forged out of necessity, not just shared memories? A secret that's not hers to tell, but one she's sworn to carry? Even in softer interviews, Kelly slips into language that feels heavy, almost rehearsed. Very, very honored that, seen, and I'm very grateful, she said once, fumbling in a way that felt more like someone protecting a boundary than giving thanks. Her entire public life looks like an intricate dance, always at the premieres, always in Ivy Park, hyping Beyoncé's latest move while Bey returns the favor by boosting Kelly's solo projects. Perfect PR on the surface. But the intensity is what makes people pause. Because at a certain point, it stops looking like mutual support and starts feeling like a pact. A silent agreement that no matter how messy the headlines get, Kelly will stand guard, defending the family, holding the line, protecting the brand. People brush off the whispers, insisting there's nothing unusual about Kelly's chemistry with the Carters. But let's be real. For someone branded as just a friend, she's always right there in the middle, never straying far from their orbit. One former Destiny's Child publicist nailed it. There's the Knowles Carter family, and then there's Kelly. She's the hinge, the confidant, and sometimes the shield. But being that shield doesn't come without a cost. Imagine spending your entire adult life smiling for cameras, posing for glossy covers, maintaining the image of the world's most powerful brand, while burying a secret that could blow it all apart. If the surrogacy theory is even partly true, then those shaky moments, Kelly's sudden tears, her ambiguous statements about loyalty, her overly emotional speeches, start to look less like random slip-ups and more like cracks from carrying a truth too heavy to say out loud. And that's the haunting part. If she really is tied to Blue Ivy's existence in ways the world was never meant to know, then her role becomes both essential and tragic. Essential because she's the silent backbone of a billion-dollar empire. Tragic, because she can never step fully into the light without risking the destruction of everything the Carters have built. Those emotional bursts, those public breakdowns, they may not be drama at all, but the surface symptoms of a deeper sacrifice. History shows one thing. When it comes to billion-dollar brands, people will go as far as it takes. In this high-stakes game, secrets are the currency, and Beyoncé and Jay-Z have mastered the hustle better than anyone. From razor-sharp PR strategies to airtight NDAs, they've built a fortress so bulletproof that even the wildest rumors barely scratch the walls. But here's the danger. Every fortress eventually erodes, explodes from pressure inside and attacks outside. The tighter the secrecy, the heavier it weighs on those forced to live under it. And once a single thread starts to pull loose, the whole tapestry risks falling apart. If Katt Williams' explosive claims carry even a shred of truth, if Beyoncé's marriage is more contract than passion, and if Kelly Rowland's role goes deeper than the world has ever been allowed to know, the fallout would be seismic. We're talking endorsements evaporating, fans questioning their idols, and an empire built on perfection suddenly exposed as a machine fueled by silence and strategy. The image that inspired a generation could collapse overnight, revealed not as a love story for the ages, but as one of the slickest business deals in music history. And if that happens, the truth won't just sting, it'll rewrite everything we thought we knew about the Carters. But here's where you come in. We want to hear from you. Is the Knowles-Carter dynasty a testament to love, loyalty, and resilience, or nothing more than the most profitable PR move the industry's ever seen? Could one secret send it all crashing down? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't hold back. We read it all. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share this story so you don't miss the next twist. Because in Hollywood, one thing's certain: the truth always finds its way out. Stay bold, stay curious, and I'll see you on the next wild ride.